Have you ever wondered about the historical foundations of segregation in America, specifically how separate public facilities became legally accepted? It is a complex and challenging chapter in our history that deeply affected millions of lives. The United States Supreme Court case of Plessy versus Ferguson, decided in 1896, meant that segregation laws became constitutionally permissible under the doctrine of separate but equal. This landmark ruling effectively legalized racial segregation across various aspects of American society for many decades. The core of the Plessy decision rested on the Supreme Court's interpretation of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which guarantees equal protection under the law. The majority of justices argued that, as long as the separate facilities provided for Black and white citizens were deemed equal in quality, their separation did not violate the amendment. They reasoned that social prejudice could not be overcome by legislation, and that segregation did not inherently stamp African Americans with a badge of inferiority, despite strong evidence to the contrary. This ruling provided the legal framework for states, particularly in the American South, to enact a wide array of Jim Crow laws. These laws enforced racial segregation in schools, public transportation, restrooms, restaurants, and many other public and private spaces. These conditions often resulted in deeply unequal and inferior facilities for African Americans, creating a system designed to maintain racial hierarchy. The case originated when Homer Plessy, who was 7/8 white and 1/8 Black, challenged a Louisiana law requiring separate railway cars. His deliberate act of sitting in a white-only car was intended to test the legality of segregation, but the Supreme Court's decision solidified the practice. Justice John Marshall Harlan famously dissented, stating that our Constitution is color-blind, warning that the ruling would stimulate aggression upon the rights of citizens. Ultimately, the Plessy versus Ferguson decision allowed for the institutionalization of racial discrimination, perpetuating systemic inequality and injustice for over half a century. It created a deeply divided society that the civil rights movement would later struggle to dismantle, finally overturned by the monumental Brown versus Board of Education ruling in 1954.